Good afternoon, all. Myself, Ashok Juneja, President Textile Association, welcome you all on today webinar Impact of Reverse Migration of Workers on Textile Industry and Way Forward. I hope you all and your loved one are safe, fine, and healthy. This webinar is being organized by Textile Association India, UKS, and ITJ. Tanvir, can you put the slide? The the Textile Association India the Textile Association India was established on 9th April 1939. It's the leading and the oldest association of textile professionals, more than 25,000 strong membership with 26 affiliated units at various textile centers in the country. So it is a non-profit making professional organization, and we are also publishing bi-monthly JTA and also providing distance education to the working people in the industry. JTA, the second organizer is JTA, the Indian Textile Journal, magazine popularly known as ITJ, has been serving the Indian textile industry for the last 130 years with over 1 lakh unique visitors every month. ITJ website updates readers about business relevant information through news and views of the opinion market. ITJ is one of the oldest publication in India. Our joint organizer is UKS, Unified Knowledge Service Private Limited, promoted by alumni of IIT Delhi, a unified platform which will act as a comprehensive knowledge repository for the entire textile value chain. UKSL is government recognized startup and providing wide-ranging information on various facts from conceptualizing to executing new textile project for various stakeholders. So, and today we have very senior and experienced panelists that also from the all spectrum of the textile industry, covering geographically all region of India. We have Mr. T. Rajkumar. Mr. T. Rajkumar is present chairman city. He is also chairman of Shri Mahashakti Mills Limited, chairman of Textile Sector Skill Council New Delhi, director of National Skill Development Corporation, former chairman of SIMA and SIMA Cotton Development Research Associations. He is associated with various educational institutions and social organizations in various capacities. So we welcome Mr. T. Rajkumar. We have with us Dr. S.M. Ishtiaq, a renowned academician and researcher, is emeritus professor in IIT Delhi. He has been on various administrative posts at IIT Delhi and was director of NITRA also. He has transferred number of technology for commercial application to the textile industry and has number of patents in his credential. Welcome, Dr. Ishtiaq. We have Mr. Prashant Mohta. Mr. Prashant Mohta is a young and dynamic managing director of Ematex, which is 118 years old company, right from ginning, spinning, weaving, and processing, having factories at multi-location, Inganghat, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, with manpower near to 5,000. He was awarded India Young Outstanding Entrepreneur in 2018 by Vice President of India. He is also chairman of the Association of Young Entrepreneurs of City. In addition, he is associated with various sports bodies, educational institutions, and social organizations. We welcome you, Mr. Prashant Mohta ji. Next is we have with Mr. R.C. Kesar. He is a textile professional with over 50 years of wide experience. As a textile professional, have been presenting papers in various textile workshops, seminar, and conference on the varying subjects. Have represented Textile Association during the formulation of textile policy and technological upgradation fund scheme at the government and the industry interaction. Presently, he is the Director General of Okhla Garment and Textile Cluster. He is also past president of Textile Association. Welcome, Mr. Kesar. We have Mr. Ajit Yadav. Mr. Ajit Yadav is chairman and managing director of CMC Private Limited Company in business of polyester, nylon, texturizing, air texturizing, warp knitted fabric, mattress ticking, and jacquard knitting fabrics with a turnover of around near to 200 crores. First generation industrialist, Mr. Yadav is also president of Dadra and Nagar Haveli Industries Association. He is also associated with various other associations in that area. So we welcome Mr. Ajit Yadav. Next is Mr. Vipin Dwivedi. Mr. Vipin Dwivedi is HR and compliance consultant having specialization in labor law, safety, and other statutory compliance associated with various garment manufacturers. Welcome, Mr. Vipin Dwivedi. So with these notes, coming back to the topic of the webinar, impact of reverse migration of workers on the textile industry and way forward. So now I think there is no need to discuss about how Corona has come, from where it has come. It is uninvited, unseen enemy. So we are not discussing, we are going to discuss today about the ongoing and the burning issue of migration of workers, reverse migration of workers to their native place. Our industry is facing various challenges. An ongoing and critical issue is reverse migration of workers, as we are all listening every day. So today webinar is organized to have a discussion on this issue. How is it impacted and what are the way forward? Short term, long term, or maybe mid term also. We have circulated one survey form to have feedback from the industry. So we have received around 150 forms back survey. So on the basis of that survey, we have done the analysis. So now I request Mr. Ravi, CEO of UKS, to please give their presentation on the basis of that survey. Mr. Ravi Arora, please.
Thank you, Juneja ji. Thank you very much, and for our introduction, and welcome to all participants in the webinar. Actually, we as a UKSL or Unified Knowledge Services Private Limited is a knowledge repository for textile industry, where we are trying to give online resource available from project conceptualization till execution of the project, including market research, project reports, project feasibility, and all other details. Can I have the next slide, Mr. Tanveer? So we as Mr. Juneja ji told, that we had a survey form which was circulated to all the industry people. We received about 149 responses. Actually, we received more than 155 today. It was till yesterday 149, on which we have analyzed. The region-wise response, we got maximum response from South, which is about 67, followed by Central and West. Tamil Nadu, about more than 55, followed by Gujarat of 23 and Maharashtra 23 responses. Next, please. There's across all the industry which we have received, 46 respondents are from spinning, followed by 36 on weaving, composites 26. Composite means we have clubbed any industry which is having processing along maybe with spinning or weaving or knitting. So that we have included into composites. Others include textile machines, textile accessories, raw material for textile industries, and all those included 20. More than 45% industry people are having more than 200 workers. And interestingly, 46% of respondents are giving more than 50% in-house accommodation to the industry. And about 25% are giving no accommodation at all to any workers. So we try to analyze what is the impact of giving accommodation and which are staying outside. Next, please. We try to analyze regarding the percentage of migrant worker and who are planning to migrate or already migrated. There's an interesting phenomena. If you see, up to 25%, about 30% of industry are responded that they have up to 25% of migrant labor, and again 30% have said they have more than 75%. So this means bracket of 26 to 75 is much less. Either they are less than 25 or more than 75. And the similar phenomena is felt where 35% have already migrated, where 25% of migrant people were there, and 27 where more than 75% of migrant are there. And on an average, 45% have a severe impact and 26% have a significant impact. So we can say about 72% are impacted largely overall across the nation. Industry tried its best by giving various methodology like provide accommodation to workers or giving partial salary during this lockdown also. But I think these are not sufficient enough to control these workers from migration. I think industry could not have done much better than this. They tried to stop the migration. Next. About 44% have already started or are ready to start the operation. This was till 2 days back, and about 25% are already ready to start by 20th of May. This means we can say majority, about 70% industry will be up and running by end of May, which is I think very encouraging numbers. And about 70% feel that they'll be able to achieve capacity utilization between 30 to 70%, which is also very optimistic figure. Obviously, we need to study the industry-wise also the capacity utilization achievable. And 59% are feeling that they'll have a shrinkage of demand, which is going to be the biggest challenge. And 53% are feeling workforce availability is going to be a challenge, and 48% are feeling that working capital would be a challenge. I think maybe by Government of India and Finance Ministry announced this relief package 2 days back might solve this working capital issue. We need to see, and maybe some other packages are coming for this. Next. Interestingly, if you see about 57% are thinking likely and very likely to think about semi-automation and automation of process, maybe complete process or some process, to decrease the dependency on skilled worker. We also thought it might be a good option for industry to relocate where local workforce is available, but I think industry is still not ready to think on this direction. Maybe some stimulus package or maybe some incentive from different state governments come, then industry might think on relocating the industry where local workforce is easily available. And interestingly, 77% people are thinking to now skill local workforce to mitigate the workforce shortage. And on an average, 23% people are thinking to moving towards semi-automation to reduce the shortage of workforce. But the biggest challenge with the local workforce is absenteeism, which is about 60%, and availability of workforce, local workforce, is 56%. But I think maybe now in local also different job opportunity decreasing, so people might think to take whatever job is available. And skilling workforce, I think Textile Council of Skill Development Council can really support industry in this direction, skilling workforce, and in case any support is required, we are also ready to support for this. Next, sir. We also tried to analyze impact analysis in a different combination. First combination was where we tried to analyze companies who have already started or ready to start but having only up to 50% of migrant workers. So in this category there were about 61 respondents, and in this about 30% are significantly impacted and about 20% are having severe impact because migrant worker was less than 50%, and they expect about they'll be able to about 35% people feel they'll be able to achieve 30 to 50% of capacity utilization, and about 35% feel about between 50 to 70% of capacity utilization. And in this 66% people feel there's a demand shrinkage is the biggest challenge, followed by workforce shrinkage, availability of workforce. And in this 46% people are feeling that they'll be likely to go for semi-automation, and 15% are saying very likely. And 89% are ready to skill workforce because they have already started. I think here Skill Development Council can really support them by skilling and fast tracking this skilling local workforce to the industry which have already started. Next, sir. Next, please. And if we see the industry which have already started or about to start, where more than 50% of migrant worker is there, here 97% are really severely and significantly impacted, which is, if we see the previous one was much lesser. And here also people 30 to 50% people feel they'll be able to achieve 35% of utilization, and 30% about 50 to 70. And in this, as per the last combination, demand shrinkage was the biggest challenge, but here workforce availability is the biggest challenge to restart. So I think, and about 71% are really ready to skill the local workforce here. And in this, 35% are ready to think about very likely for semi-automation and automation of processes to decrease the dependency. So we can really see the difference between two combinations where worker are less than 50% or worker are more than 50%. Yes, sir. Another combination was spinning, weaving and composite company where more than 50% of migrant workers are there. Here also it's about 97% are severely impacted. And again, if you see 67% are very likely to think about semi-automation or automation in the processes to decrease the dependency. Here also the workforce challenge is the biggest challenge, coming out to be biggest challenge to restart the industry, and skilling local workforce is coming out to be the easiest short-term solution to mitigate the workforce challenge and achieve the capacity utilization. Next, sir. So if we try to conclude the survey, I think reverse migration of labor is a major issue to restart the manufacturing in textiles, and it has already impacted severely the productivity of industry, and impact is spread geographically across all sub-segments and across all the states. Despite best effort being put by industry owners, it was difficult to stop the reverse migration, and it could not be stopped. Demand shrinkage, non-availability of local workforce, erosion of working capital have emerged as major challenges to restart. Employment of laborer from local area moving towards process semi-automation, automation has emerged as most logical solution to tackle the problem. Tackling the issue of local labor employment such as absenteeisms, reskilling are the area where help is needed for the industry with immediate effect, so that industry can restart and able to achieve the capacity utilization. Next, sir. There were some points which were suggested by different respondent. We try to summarize that. It was subsidy or reduction in interest rate for next 3 years, power tariff subsidies, up to 25% enhancement in working capital loan, relaxation in stringent labor laws, which I think some states are already moving in this direction. relevant skilling right from school level. I think this is really interesting, from where we can try to skill from school level, and maybe skill development council can really think on this direction. Supporting organization and NGO and rehabilitation of migrant labor, and financial stimulus to the industry. Thank you, sir. And with this, we conclude our presentation and we move ahead for the panel discussion. Can I ask Juneja ji to take care of it?
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to listen me?
Yes, yes.
So now we have with us Mr. T. Rajkumar. So Mr. Rajkumar, these are the just a presentation from the on the basis of the survey. I don't know because survey size, how much is the sample size and all. So may I ask you, what is the contribution of migrant workers to the textile industry in India? What is the overview of the textile industry due to the prevailing issue of migration of workers back to the home state? Mr. T. Rajkumar, please.
Mr. Rajkumar, you're on mute.
You are able to hear me?
Yes. You've gone back on mute, Mr. Rajkumar. No, we can't hear you, Mr. Rajkumar, please.
No problem. Hello, you are able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. In fact, thank you very much for this opportunity. In fact, migrant laborers play a very important role in terms of the textile industry in the whole country. Particularly, if you take the distinction between the south and the north, you have predominantly workers from Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, Orissa, and all those places. First, let me talk about the south. In fact, you know, predominantly the migrant workers are being housed in hostels and other accommodations in south. Particularly if you take Coimbatore, Tirupur, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and all these places, the last 2 months during the lockdown, all these workers were all kept in hostels, they were all fed, and they were all there. There were few workers who really wanted to go back. Unfortunately, when the government announced that the trains are going to come in, a lot of people have left. So the industry has just started with around 30 to 33%. And some people who have gone before the lockdown wanted to come back. And there is no train or other services for them to come back. But now there has been a large migration of these migrant workers moving out from here. They all say they want to go and come back. But predominantly, if you take these two clusters, let me compare two clusters. One cluster is Tirupur, one cluster is Coimbatore. Close to around 4.5 lakh migrant workers are working only in textile industry, out of which close to 3 lakh workers are working in Tirupur cluster. Around 1.5 lakh workers are working in Coimbatore cluster. I expect at least 2 to 2.5 lakh workers moving out and again coming back. It will definitely have a big impact on the utilization of all these units. And you know, particularly the spinning industry will be very vulnerable for the utilization. Same way, the Tirupur cluster says they have orders, they need to do sampling and other things which need to start now. The similar model can be applied across the country. Let it be Rajasthan, let it be Gujarat, let it be Maharashtra. Prashant is there, he could add more value towards Maharashtra. So I will focus myself towards south more. But as a country, we will have an effect of 30 to 40%, even if you have local workers working. Typically in south, the third shift is done by the migrant workers. The 1.5 shifts are done by the local workers. Particularly shifts starting 3 o'clock to morning 6 o'clock is normally done by the migrant workers, typically because the local workers refuse to work. And that was the reason this combination was a mixture of combinations to work in the last 2 shifts. Now, we really know every day typically close to 20 to 30 trains move out of Tamil Nadu as a whole. But if you take the textile cluster, Madurai, Rajapalayam, Coimbatore, Tirupur and all those places, close to 20 to 25 trains move out. So that means each train carries 2,200 workers. So if 20 trains move out every day, 40,000 workers are moving out every day. So it's going to happen till 18th. Though the government lately came out and said, we do not want everybody to go back. We only want those migrant workers who really wanted to go home. It was too late for the government to stop them. Now everybody wants to go and everybody wants to come back. So this is one scenario. In this scenario, what is going to happen is this 3 months is going to be very critical, because I personally feel they are not going to stay back. They will come back. At least 70% of them will come back. So if you assume 70% of them are going to come back, only after 3 months, typically the utilization will range between 40 to 60%. There are few units, I will not say a lot of units, few units to name who have women workers predominantly from Orissa and other places who have housed them all inside. They have not gone back. They are all staying back. So those units will be better placed on terms of utilization, on terms of garmenting and delivery. So this issue of migrant workers moving to the states and coming back will have a big effect to the spinning and other related industries in south. And this will be depending upon the states, because for example, even in states like Rajasthan and other places, you have predominantly migrant workers to a very large extent of 70 to 80%. Coming on to this, how to retain them on a long-term basis. Typically, the mills will have to, of course, the majority of the mills, the majority of the textile sector took care of the workers very well. Nowhere there were any complaints, particularly if I say in states like Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, there were not, even Kerala, there were not any uproar telling that the textile workers were not taken care of well. It was only the construction workers and other sector workers who were all dependent on a subcontractor had problems. But here they were by and large peaceful. But the problem started when the government said trains will be introduced, you can go back and come back. It became a big problem. They should have told initially itself, people, the works are going to start. And I attended personally 3 or 4 meetings personally in Coimbatore to assess them. They were all right. Unfortunately, they did not know when the work is going to start and they were all frustrated. Few of them said, we are sitting without work, we want to go. That is again a big problem, which mentally they thought, let us go back. Though this is a fever. Today we say, let us live with Corona. Corona will not leave us. Let us live with it and let us run our industry with it. But unfortunately, we did not tell that in the beginning. They all thought that something, it is a serial killer, it's going to kill us. So they all feel, let us go home and come back, see the family and come back. Majority of them, because we met close to 10,000 workers, but of course, on that only 2,000 workers were from textiles, 8,000 workers were for working in malls, working in hotels, and other industry. They said, sir, we will all come back. 70 to 75% response once they wanted to come back. 3 reasons they said. Sir, we don't have work back home. 2, here we are very comfortable and we are having very good food. 3, we have enough people here to have our culture done. So I personally feel they will come back. But short term, we will have problems. We will have to manage. Already we are bleeding, and I really know if the utilization is not going to come, we are going to have problems. But the good part is, though we all thought that we will not have any demand, we will be suffering, the industry is going to have a bit rough patch. The demand and the inquiries are starting to come in, but unfortunately, movement from state to state and other places are getting stopped. We are having problems. Fine. Now, coming to the second point of what is the incentive package announced by the government and my views. And coming to the incentive packages announced, it's a very welcomeable measure. The only point what city has raised to the government is that, see, traditionally, a lot of mills which are running fine counts, particularly 80s, 90s, 100s, typically of a mill with a size of 25,000 spindles, their turnover will not exceed 36 to 40 crores if they are running only fine counts. Here we have sought a clarification. I'm not trying to justify. I am still hopeful and I expect that the entire textile value chain will have a solution from the government. But what has been announced, I am happy. In the sense, there is only one clarification which we have already taken up on the medium-sized, on the SMEs, the mid-sized companies, the investment of 20 crores or turnover of 50 crores, 100 crores. If this modification can be done, there will be large part of the spinning mills also, particularly in south and few parts of north, which are traditionally into fine and superfine counts can come inside. Coming to garmenting, 70% of the garmenting factories will benefit because typically their investments are all in the range of 20 crores and they have multiple companies. It's not one company which is manufacturing. They have multiple companies. They have a company for knitting, they have a company for finishing, they have a company for garmenting, and they call it as a group. So here the balance sheets are all separate balance sheets. A large part of them will benefit out of it. Coming again to the power loom sector. When you take the power loom sectors, belts like Somanur, Pallipalayam, Tiruchengodu, Namakkal, Rajapalayam, Rajamundri, Vijayawada, and all these clusters, Ichalkaranji, Bhiwandi, where you have large clusters where individually it's all divided. 12 looms, 24 looms, 36 looms, 48 looms. And typically, if you take the average size is 24 looms or 12 looms, there are also 6 looms. So those companies where the investments, typically they all would have gone to imported shuttleless looms. Typically the cost would have been 30 lakhs of their investment. Even if you take 48 looms, their cost would not have exceeded 20 crores. So all those sectors, particularly in South, in the regions what I'm telling, 70% of them will be eligible. Finally, the most welcomeable step is, which we have been arguing, including for the large companies, that those companies which are working now and still has been classified as trust or NPA should be considered, and that has been considered, which is a very, very welcomeable issue, welcomeable stand by the government, because this will benefit, job losses will be arrested, and those companies will have a new hope to go. So I full-heartedly welcome the measures which has been announced by the Government of India, and my gratefulness and thankfulness to Honorable Prime Minister, because this, for SMEs, this has come in. Friends, but with caution, let me tell you, unless and otherwise this is implemented in mind and spirit, and the banks cooperate and come out with true spirit to lend, this will not reach the beneficiaries. So this is again something which we have raised. I even today had a talk with a very senior man, a director of the Reserve Bank of India, and requested him, telling that, sir, these benefits have come, unless and otherwise, if this comes out, it will not help. And raising the limit of micro, small, and medium is welcomeable. Only thing is, they will have to either investment or turnover should be considered. Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for your overview. Before coming to Mr. Prashant Mohta, I think Mr. Rajkumar has already touched why people have started we have framed one question for poll opinion. At this moment, we have more than 350 people online. We will just flash one question, and they have with 3 or 4 options. So this is the question: why did reverse migration start? So there are options: job insecurity, not properly treated, taken care of. So you have 1 minute to odd attendee. Please give your preference. So we will show the result. Means why did reverse migration started? Job insecurity, not properly treated, taken care of, fear of COVID-19 in the cities, fear to take care of parents, family back at home. So please tick your options.
It's not. It says it's only for attendees.
Yeah, it is for only for attendees.
Oh, you are telling for them. Okay.
So hope you have already ticked. So now we will just show the result. Out of the 4 options, 18% people say job insecurity, 22% attendees say not properly treated, 26% say fear of COVID-19 in the cities, and 34%, the majorities of means maximum 34% say fear to take care of parents, family back at home. This is just the feedback from the attendee. So now
I accept it, sir. I wanted to tick 3 and 4. 3 and 4 has come the largest. Thank you.
Okay, so now I am just coming back to Prashantji. Prashantji, you are looking after start from ginning to processing, all spinning, weaving, and all field, and you have all the locations also, factory at various locations. So we have seen the majority of industries severely impacted by this migration. What is the way forward? What are your suggestions, or what is the way forward? How you are impacted in all the field, and what is the way forward?
Right. So are you able to hear me? I would like to get a confirmation on that first. Okay, great. So thank you for your question. As you already mentioned that we are into all streams of textile business. So every industry, every sector has got differently hit, and every region has got a different impact. There are several. Our factory in Ahmedabad, which is basically a processing unit, has severely suffered, and we have kept the operations stopped since 10th of May. We had started the operation post 5th of May, but we were forced to stop because of the new cases that we could that came out in the area of Ahmedabad and Dholka. Similarly, what we have in Hingengarh, we see that our spinning sector is hugely hit because some of the migrant workers have left back, almost 5 to 10%, and our weaving remains to be quite stable because there the number of workers are also less, and we were dependent quite a lot on our local workers. So the survey which you actually carried out and showed before the presentation depicted very true scenario and correct scenario. So it applies to us as well. Now, considering the impact that is going to have on a textile, it all is a game of demand and supply. It all depends how much job or how much job security we can offer to our workers, and that will decide how many migrant workers come back to work, how much pay they get. So that's basically the demand that we have for our material will ultimately boil down to the demand that we create for them as a job. And the other side is the supply side, whether how much is the supply we'll be able to carry out in terms of material that we have to do, which will definitely depend on how long the COVID situation exists, how much India gets affected, how the consumer behavior changes, and how the textile gets affected because of this, and ultimately whether the textiles which moves out of China and the export potential which India has, that gets fulfilled to some extent. So this demand and supply will decide whether how much we call for this. Otherwise, also local governments have eased down the rule so that even if some of the companies which have lost some of the migrant workers are able to work around, like 12-hour shifts have been permitted, which is going to be a big help because that reduces the number of workers that are required. If we can sit with our workers, explain them the situation, they also get an opportunity to make little extra money for them, and that will arrest the demand, the worker shortage which exists in the unit. And that has been the case with our unit also. We have been able to discuss with them, and in certain areas where it was directly implementable, We have been able to change from 8-hour to 12-hour shift in some of the cases, and we are working further so that this can be implemented. Then there are other opportunities which have been opened up because of you said that how the industry has to adapt to it. Most of your survey also showed that a lot of industries, almost more than 30% industries already have a hostel facility close to their production facility. I think that will further increase now. Government yesterday already has given a very attractive package where industry will be incentivized to actually make those Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana kind of scheme, where the workers will be asked to stay near the factory area, and which will help to reduce the commute time, as well as give them a more homely feeling and staying near the factory, and will not have the transit problems which they encountered during this COVID situation. So that will be one change which probably industry will have to adapt to. Safety and security will definitely have to be there. As I just read yesterday, WHO has said that this corona is here to stay, and we have to live with it now. So we will have to have extra precautions. We'll have to work out additional insurance schemes, how we can take care of these workers, so that the liability doesn't boil down to the industry itself, and workers will also be a little more secured in terms that if anything happens to them, they have some fallback option. Then some innovative schemes will have to be employed by the industry, how we can attract these migrant workers. At this moment, these migrant workers have gone back, and the reason, as your survey just showed, was that many of them felt there was a need to go back to their elders, to their families, check out their health, and also because they were not having a very good assurance from the industry whether how much jobs we can create for them, or how much continuity we can give to them, as most of our plants are mostly operating at 33 to 50%. So on a rotational basis, we are able to create jobs for these people. So people who are making 100 rupees by staying here also now are not able to make more than 60-65 rupees, even if we want to pay them and as much as possible. But so at that level, they feel it's better to go back and actually spend life with their loved ones, with their own family, because there also they have some ancestral properties on which they can fall back upon, as well as the cost of living in their villages is definitely lower. Government has again incentivized them to stay for some period there by giving free food grains yesterday for at least for 2 months by pulses and rice and all those things. So they will be staying. I suppose that they are going to stay back for another 3-4 months till this uncertainty goes down, when we come out with a clear plan that we are going to have full operations back to our full scale. And only then, once we give them assurance and make those innovative schemes, those kind of thing, we can bring them back through referral, through references, through our past performances, through our past commitments, and the kind of feeling that these people have always got, like they get this kick that when they go out of the house and they are able to make good money for themselves, send back their savings also, it gives them that feeling of satisfaction, as well as they are able to accommodate a lot of people in the family in that way, that some people go out, some take care of the ancestral property. So that gives a good balance, and I think that will be restored back only when the uncertainty goes out. So those are the things which industry can do so as to achieve or so as to get back these laborers back to work.
Thank you, Prashantji. Thank you very much for your suggestion. So may I request Mr. Ajit Yadav. Mr. Ajit Yadav is from the synthetic yarn industry at Vapi and this area. So may I request Mr. Ajit Yadav to say how are the industries in your area dealing with the issue of migration of workers, and what are the steps in very short, because we are running short of time. So you can just brief that. So Mr. Yadav, please.
Thanks, Mr. Dineja, to add me here. First of all, we belong to Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. That place is known for industrial activities, mainly for, if we talk about textiles, mainly for polyester, UI yarn, FDY yarn, textile yarn, and contributes around 70% of production of total country's production of polyester yarn. Around 10,000 tons per day of polyester yarn being produced over in this place. If we talk about, I am giving in very short this. If we talk about the number of workers engaged in these activities of synthetic yarn, around 75,000 workers are working over in this place in this UT of Daman, Diu and Dadra Nagar Haveli. Mostly are the migrated persons. If we see the scenario of migration, since last 1.5 months, already 25% workers already migrated from this place. Remaining 25% are in process. They definitely will leave the place within very short period. For that, we have, with the industry has taken some steps to retain, to keep them over here. First, we have planned a 3-tier program. First is the appeal. Through social and through electronic, through print media, we have appealed to our workers. We have taken the help of government officials. We have taken the help of different Samaj prominent persons, just to convince the migrated people that you are very safe because you are in green zone. If you migrate from this place to your native place in a haphazard way, there will be a loss and harm to your family, to you also. So we have a mass campaign we have drive over there. Number 2, we have built up assurance and confidence program. In that, we have already, all the textile industry already taken the permission to operate. We have started in all maximum company. We have all already started the maintenance work. We have remaining person we have called on duty. March salary already given. Regarding April salary, some industry already given, and some have given the advances so that they can take care of their family and they can cater their own needs. These are the steps we are taking. Third one, if even after that, if somebody wants to go to meet their parents or lovely one, we are making them a proper arrangement. We are with the help of government, हम लोगों ने उनका पूरा एक पोर्टल बनाया हुआ है, उसके थ्रू हमने उनको अप्लाई कराया है, और जैसे जैसे हाइजीनिक वे में गवर्नमेंट फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट उनको वहां से भेज रही है, एक प्रॉपर सेफ हाइजीनिक वे में हम उनका घर जाने का रास्ता भी बना रहे हैं. फिर अब बात करें टू रीस्टार्ट द इंडस्ट्री, एज मोता जी टोल्ड एंड राजकुमार जी टोल्ड, एंड योर सर्वे आल्सो, the thing is same. The whole textile industry, even synthetic also, for next 3 months we expect only 30 to 40% demand. So that we have to detain remaining person with us, and in a phased manner, one by one, we have to start as the demand creates, as the markets open. And whole textile industry is a chain. We produce the yarn. If we put the loom section will start, processing will start, market will start. It is the local demand and the all retailing, all that is the chain. When the demand creates, slowly the order will come, export order will come, then slowly we have to start the work production. As well, we have to keep the remaining person with us, and we have a plan for cross department training also. कुछ डिपार्टमेंट के लोग जल्दी चले गए, ज्यादा चले गए, कहीं कम रह गए, so that we have a cross training program also to our workers to make the demand will come. We have a plan to recruit some fresh stuff from local area, fresh graduates, fresh persons, so that we can train them in our factory as the demand creates. As well, we are also having that, we'll have the dialogue with the persons who already left, because they are the permanent workers. They were having the PF and all facilities. Definitely 75% of them will come back, we hope so, and remaining 25% we have to arrange locally. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Ajit ji. I think we have lost the connection with Mr. R.C. Kesar. Tanvir, Mr. Kesar is there on the line?
Yes, he can hear us, and he will be responding over the over voice, not video.
Okay. So now I am coming to Mr. Kesar. Mr. Kesar, in your cluster, you have 28 members who are mainly exporting garments to various countries, and maybe having more than 75,000 workers. So may I ask the question, in OGTC, how severe has been the impact of reverse migration? Which are some of the short and long-term solutions that you are exploring to overcome this challenge? Mr. Kesar, please.
Mr. Jadeja, first of all, my apology for the technological interruption. And maybe I am not that tech savvy. First the computer failed, then the phone failed, I don't know. So anyway, to answer your question, now even the computer is also getting ready. To answer your question, OGTC group is a group of garment exporters. Let me give you briefly what OGTC is. It's a group of garment exporters who got together about 15 years back with one single point agenda to build their competitiveness. So the entire approach in the last 15 years have been to work on building competitiveness through training, through process improvements, through skilling and upskilling and all that kind of thing. Now, to answer your question of the impact of the migration, it's too early to say, because the factories have started opening about a week or 10 days back, and that too with the condition of 2 gaz ki duri and the social distancing and all that. You don't have a capacity to put more than half the people inside. That is one. The secondly, traditionally, April, May, June, July, up to August is a lean season when the factories traditionally go down to production of 45–50% or so. I'm talking on the apparel sector in the north. I'm not talking on the other sectors. I'm talking of the garment export sector. Now, additionally, there have been the problem of order cancellations from buyers. So at the moment, neither the workload is there, nor there is scope for additional workers. But the number of people you have asked for, those have joined. So I'm not saying some people would have left, but the one who are here has been enough to start the factories. But there have been some local hindrances which is causing the problem. For example, in Haryana, Gurgaon, the factory gets a permission to run 670 to employ 670 workers on the basis of 40%, 50%, all that. Now they are on the border, Delhi, Gurgaon border, and most of the workers are living in Delhi because that Kapasera village is cheaper. So they are not allowed to enter Gurgaon. So the factory is waiting for them. The government has given the permission to run, but this cross movement is an additional barrier. So I think personally, it will take a couple of months for the things to stabilize, and the impact of this migration or reverse migration is not going to remain very long, because the states will not be able to find them employment in a hurry. So within, as soon as this harvesting season is over, I'm sure the people will start returning back. And I don't see this becoming a major issue of production losses and all that. Secondly, the companies, at least in OGTC group, has started employing female workers more, which has traditionally north has been male workers. With that, the availability of the workforce has increased, and their attendance is better, and they are faster to be they are faster trained. So that shortage also is being met by the previous years. In addition to that, there have been, as I said, the working on competitiveness building that through process improvement, through technological interventions, through Industry 4 introductions, and that process has started already. And with that, the process improvement is taking place. The requirement of the workers are reducing. So all combined, I don't think in this region the impact is going to be serious by the time the industry normalizes by August or so.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. I think we have also, just what you have said, Mr. Kesar, we have also framed one poll opinion question, means that will be flashed for the attendee. After the restart of the industry, what will be the main issue? After the restart of the industry, what will be the main issue? So attendee has to choose for one option: migration of labor, order position to produce, liquidity crunch, or corona guidelines to comply with, what Mr. Kesar has also mentioned.
You want me to answer that?
No,
Or
no, no,
you-
sir.
we-
That I have put for the attendee. So let us have the
Okay.
Hold कर दो.
Okay, let us have a result of this quick poll. So after the restart of the industry, what will be the main issue? The 20% of the attendees say migration of labor. 34%, the majority say order position to produce, because what I think Mr. Kesar has also mentioned, lot of orders have cancelled and all. And 21% say liquidity crunch, and 25% say Corona guidelines to compliance with. So this is a mixed answer. So now I am coming to the Mr. Vipin Dwivedi, who is because time is we are already near to the finish of the time, but still we have Dr. Ishtiaq to say, and still some lot of questions are there. So in the short, Mr. Vipin, looking at all ongoing issue, maybe our role is very important being HR and this. Do we have any labor law to protect the interest of the migrant worker in this prevailing condition? In very short, Mr. Dwivedi, please. You
Mr. Dwivedi, you're on mute.
सॉरी, लॉ के अंदर, इंडस्ट्रियल लॉ के अंदर ऐसा कोई प्रोविजन अभी नहीं बना हुआ है, बट ये एक रिसेंटली जो अनफॉर्चुनेट कोरोना कोविड-19 आया इंडिया के अंदर, ये अनएक्सपेक्टेड वायरस था जिसके लिए गवर्नमेंट कुछ टाइम पा गई थी और उसके लिए कुछ पॉलिसीज उन्होंने डिफाइन किया, जिसे और उसमें एम्प्लॉयर ने भी काफी सपोर्ट किया, बिजनेसमैन ने सपोर्ट किया, मार्च अप्रैल की सैलरी उन लोगों ने दी। मिला जुला के गवर्नमेंट ने जो अपने वर्कर्स को रोकने के लिए या जो फैसिलिटी अवेलेबल करने के लिए उन्होंने दिया, हमारे अनुसार उन्होंने 3 प्रोविजन किया। एक, एम्प्लॉयर ने सैलरी दिया वर्कर्स को रोकने के लिए, और उसके बाद जो है भोजन की व्यवस्था गवर्नमेंट ने की। उसके बाद मकान मालिक से जो वर्कर्स जहाँ पे रह रहे थे, स्टे कर रहे थे, उनसे किराया ना लेने के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने रिक्वेस्ट किया। लेकिन अगर टोटल सिनेरियो को देखा जाए, जो हमारा ऑब्जर्वेशन आया है, जो रिजल्ट आया है कि माइग्रेंट वर्कर रुकना नहीं चाह रहा है। क्यों? गवर्नमेंट उनका कॉन्फिडेंस यानी मॉनिटरिंग प्रोसेस को या कॉन्फिडेंस जीतने में नाकाम रही है। वर्कर आज रात में निकल के भाग रहा है, उसको एम्प्लॉयर से उतनी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, उसको गवर्नमेंट के जो पॉलिसीज डिफाइन की गई, जो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन है और मॉनिटरिंग है, वो उन तक रियली पहुंच नहीं पा रही है। वर्कर इनसिक्योर है कोविड-19 से, गाइडलाइन है 33% पे कीजिए, ऑर्डर कैंसिल हो गए हैं। ये सब चीजें विद इन 3 मंथ के अंदर सॉल्व हो जाएंगे, हमारे पास ऑर्डर्स हो जाएंगे। हमारे पास इंडस्ट्री के अंदर ऑर्डर्स होने के बाद ये लेबर जो गांव चले गए हैं, चाहे पैदल चले गए हैं, चाहे जिस काइंड से चले गए हैं, वो रिटर्न होने के लिए तैयार नहीं हो रहे हैं। तो हमें अभी गवर्नमेंट को, इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट को हमें ऐसा ट्रेनिंग, चाहे सोशल मीडिया के माध्यम से, न्यूज के माध्यम से, जैसे भी उन लोगों को अवेयर करके कॉन्फिडेंस में लेना है। और जो 3 महीने के बाद हमारी इंडस्ट्री में फिर से जो रोजगार वापस आएगा, उसके लिए प्रिपेयर्ड रहना है। तो गवर्नमेंट से हमारा रिक्वेस्ट है, यहाँ पे आप लोग सारे सीनियर्स हैं, रिक्वेस्ट है कि हम लोग ज्यादातर ट्रेनिंग और कॉन्फिडेंस इनबिल्ट करें, जिससे आने वाला समय हमारे फेवर में।
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. So now I am coming to Dr. Ishtiaq. Dr. Ishtiaq, because I have come to the last, although time has left short, but I was thinking you will listen to everybody and then you will give some technological solution for that, being a technological expert. So how technology, automation, digitalization will help the industry in this prevailing situation? Dr. Ishtiaq, please.
Okay, good evening. I'm audible?
Yeah.
Okay, so good evening to everybody. Yes, I will limit myself to only technical aspect, because you know that this textile industry is a labor intensive. A lot of labors are required. This is the issue. And these issues are not with the level to only what we are talking COVID. this is a problem that throughout the year, some festivals are there and all that, you will know better that this availability of labor is always there. So now this has to be resolved anyway, because that we cannot totally say that yes, worker is not available, so that we are losing a lot of our efficiency and productivity and other things. So that we should be in that way very, very clear. Yes, the people talk about automation. Automation is definitely a solution. You see this automation that from two angles. One is that normally that we see this automation from cost point of view. They say that yes, capital this cost will increase. At the same time that we see this automation that we will require lesser worker, so that this unemployment will be the issue. But I will answer both the point indifferently. You see this automation, if you see that the advantage of automation, if you see in terms of higher productivity, quality, consistency and all, and if you work it out economics, because I don't have the time, I can give you the figures, that you'll find that this capital increase is not that effective. It can be compensated with these factors, with productivity, consistency, quality and all. You can waste, loss, other thing that you can work it out, then definitely it can take care of. So that this one should not say that automation require more money, that I can get back. Second aspect is, yes, once we say the automation is there, that yes, unemployment will be there, that is also not true. I will just give you one figure, this garment related, and which take total supply chain. Take a typical case of Australia. In 2013, this your capital spent on garment was 1131 USD. Now that 2023, it is going to be 1790. Take the case of India. It is in 2013 it was 37 USD, and now it is going to be 129. It means demand is going to increase. The moment demand is going to increase, then definitely that you will have more this capacity requirement, more industry, so that the issue of unemployment is not going to be. That is very clear. So that we should keep in mind. Now come out that what type of automation, that is an important issue that we should see. You see this automation, that once we are going for automation, we should be very clear that whether we have a streamlined manufacturing concept or that we want a variable or flexible manufacturing line. Now, what is happening in our case, that mostly all the mills that we believe in this your flexible your manufacturing system. The moment that you have a flexible manufacturing system, a lot of product makes this, that, and all, depending on totally on market, automation will always fail. Automation will only work that if we have a streamlined product mix. We are working with the limited number of product mix. Take a typical example and work it out economics. This your a spinning mill. If you are making this count, this one count 60%, and other two count that in 40% you can play. That your efficiency gain is 1.5 and 2%, and 1.5 and 2% efficiency gain is very, very high. Because so this is the one we have to say, so that whether that we want, so we have to have this concept of streamlined manufacturing, then we will have this better automation. Otherwise, that we will never get the advantage of automation. Take a typical case where that we can now take a typical case of spinning. Of course, that we have talked about this the transport of bob and touring frame. We have a link owner. Then this advantage are there. But now that people have started talking about that for on same ring frame, you can have packaging also automatically, so that you are packing your material of one ring frame in specific package, and that will give again a lot of advantage to a weaver. The moment that I'm getting a material of a specific ring frame continuously, so that consistency that will happen. So this is one way that in case of spinning one can go. And at the same time, I would suggest that India has to go to final count. Take a typical case of Australia and New Zealand in even woolen system. They have gone for very fine count. Why not we can think of that going for final count? Final count means that again that I will require a lesser number of workers, lesser product mix. That will again help this better opportunity. Take a weaving. Why not that we should go for this automatic this fabric inspection? 1/10 that you will be able to save the worker. go for a garment. Your sweep board that you know, that you might be knowing. Sweep board, there is a concept where that you are able to stitch automatically the garments. One t-shirt that you can make in 2.3 minutes. Type of automation that we talk about. Sweep, this is another concept that they are talking. So here that different automation that we have where that we can think of. But the moment that we are going to automation, that will invite different type of other problem. That another first thing is that we have to have a trained people. The type of maintenance. We cannot any flexibility that we cannot have in the maintenance. Right of people, more people related to electronic. This work culture that has to be changed. That we have to have more trained people. That those have this good background. So there that you see, this is another disadvantage that we'll have. So that so we have to have a skilled worker. At the same time, that training is very much important. We have to train them with time. That so that we can have a multi-skillness. Because this is the concept that again textile industry has to come. That we have to bring a multi-skillness. So that I can have this, suppose one place is shortage, I can take the people from other. So this is another this aspect that we can take. So last point that what I will say that yes, because I can give you the example, two examples I can give. I have worked in a industry abroad. 30s count last 30 years in 1,50,000 spindle mills they were making. Only one count last 30 years. This type of product means we should talk about if we have to go. Another aspect, I have seen a plant in Italy, 50,000 spindle mill, 7 workers per shift. Type of automation we talk about. So this is possible that yes, and at the same time, sometimes a good number of people they say yes, unemployment is true. I don't agree with that. This employment you can give this a better way because this the demand is increasing. A very simple example you can take. Once that your courier system came into existence, everybody says the post office will get away, but you see how many courier agencies have started giving job to the people. So it is not that if one thing is getting valid, another thing will give this job. Take even a computer application. So job is not an issue. So solution is yes, if we have to. We cannot depend on this industry, this on dependency of the worker. We have to go for automation. We have to think of, but at the same time, with the caution that we have to streamline the thing. We have to maintain a good maintenance. We have to have skilled people. Then only this your automation will be. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ishtiaq. I think we have a lot of discussion point, but time is very short. Prashant, some people are asking, can you also speak about a little about finance minister talking about affordable rental accommodation for migrant labor and urban poor? I don't know. I mean, this is just one question has come. Or they are also asking, government should facilitate rented houses for migrant textile workers. Can you little bit put light on this?
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting announcement which was made yesterday by the finance minister, where they gave hostel facility kind of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana scheme for industrialists, where they can make facilities and get it even housing done for their workers. So the details are yet to come, but I understand that maybe some special fund will be allotted for that, and we will be able to, or either a low rate of interest will be there, or even PPP partnerships can be entered into where you can allow your some third-party provider, solution provider to make those houses, and it will be low-cost rental housing kind of scheme. Such kind of schemes will be there, which will help the industry basically, so that housing will be there. Because at the moment now, when the migrants are there in their own villages, that is going to definitely help the rural economy to grow. So I expect the agriculture sector to really do well, and that benefit to come to industry in some or the other way. And the scheme will be very attractive. And some of the suggestions which I would like to give the government, because one question I've already answered about the scheme. The details are yet to come, but there are certain things which government can further do. And one of them is basically the FTE, which we expect, the fixed term employment scheme which government had come out with, hasn't been implemented yet at the state level. If that comes out, probably we will be able to enter into some kind of agreement, and the cost which industry had to bear now, where they were forced to give 100% or at least 50% of the wages for the lockdown, those can be covered in some or the other way in that fixed term employment scheme. Even the reskilling scheme can be given by government, so that whatever employees are left with us, we should be able to reskill them. Government has very interesting skill development schemes. One of them is also there for reskilling, where they have for the existing employees, but it will need certain tweak or modification, where we will be able to reskill our own employees for various jobs in case, because when we are using local workers which have more absenteeism, we need to have little bit of job flexibility so that we can put them in any kind of job that we find them suitable for. Third is the employee department of the local area. They will be able to, they should be able to play a proactive role and share with the industry a list of people who are available in the local area, so that they can be evaluated, and if jobs can be provided to them as and when the industry needs them for production. And fourth thing being the insurance scheme. As I mentioned in past, my first topic also, if some insurance schemes are devised so that industry can be covered and workers also feel more secured, those should be looked into. These are some of the things which government has done or should be doing, so that the pain can be reduced, and ultimately it can come back to a win-win situation for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I come put a question to Mr. T. Rajkumar, there is one poll opinion question. May I request to flash the question, please? This is, which are the best option to mitigate the challenge of the reverse migration? Hire more local people, increase the adoption of automation, collaborate with government to hire Manrega or temporary workers, shift plants near places where low cost labor is available. So please give your options, preferred options, so we can put the result. Yeah, please. So 43% people are saying hire more local people. 37% people saying increase the adoption of automation, what Mr. Ishtiaq was saying. Collaborate with government to hire Manrega and temporary workers. Shift plants near the places where low cost labor is available. So 43% are saying hire the more local people. This is just for the preference of the attendee. So Mr. Rajkumar, there are lot of questions are there. One of the questions is whether at city forum, are you approaching government for the uniform labor law? Means different states have the different labor law. Is any suggestion or anything where we are putting to the government for the uniform labor law?
Yes, thank you. We have already taken up, particularly in last October, when we had a discussion pertaining to changes in labor law, we have recommended this. In the sense, we said to attract, there were talks about to bring in large mega parks, plug and play and things like that, which the Honorable Textile Minister has taken up. And when we had serious discussions talking about the functioning of the present textile parks and bringing in new ones, we said to attract more FDIs and more large investments into the textile sector, this is needed. Yes, we have recommended and we have requested. They said, though it is a state subject, they said we requested certain central amendments pertaining to certain basic things would help to have at least 60 to 70% of common labor laws across country. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. R.C. Kesar, are you able to listen to me? Mr. Kesar, please. No, I think.
I can hear you.
Yeah, Mr. Kesar, I think from the poll opinion, it has come local employment. We have to, will reverse migration leads to an increase in job opportunity for local people living near the plant or factory? How significant will be training, skill developments for these pupils?
Look here, training is not an issue because now most of the companies have regular training centers in their own companies, and they have proper courses, proper trainers and all that. Training is not an issue. But employing the local people, the past experience of the industry has been that the absenteeism goes very high because of the local people and all that. And plus also the labor unrest becomes very fast. So one way the industry has found is the female employment. In female employment, most of the girls are local girls and they are doing a good job of it. And the male workers, at least in Haryana and all that, they are not interested in these factory jobs and all that. So I don't think the local employment will solve the problem. Although the state governments keep on insisting employ local people, but I don't think this problem is going to get solved through that, because that is over in the last at least 30-40 years of my experience. I have seen that this has never been successful. At the end of the day, the industry had to go back to the migrant people and find different ways. As Dr. Ishtiaq has also said, the ways are improve production, productivity, reduce number of people, employ female workers, and you are through.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Prashantji, maybe last question, because we are now already near to the 5 o'clock. Some of the people are asking, is it a temporary issue or a permanent issue, number one? Or how do you see domestic demand in next 6 months or 1 year time or 2 year time? What is your forecast, or means just what your inner voice is saying?
Very difficult question for me to answer actually. In this uncertain time, to talk about clarity of certain thing is very difficult. But we can
Yes.
only use some examples like I just mentioned what WHO said, that we'll have to start living with COVID, and going by understanding what is happening in South Korea and China, where the second wave has come back. I really doubt if it is going to be a short-term thing. I expect this to linger for at least 1.5 years or 2 years till we have a vaccine or a drug coming out. And that too, after that, how the whole distribution will happen and everybody get vaccinated and then the effect to take place. I really doubt the efficacy if it's going to happen anything before 2.5, 3 years. So we have to live with it. That's my understanding is. And how about whether the industry coming back to its full scale and full demand coming back? I doubt that will happen till the confidence will come back within the consumer. I think the whole money spent or money will be saved for taking care of the health and for managing such kind of fatalities or such kind of uncertainty. People will restrict their consumption and their spending. So in that case, I do not see very futuristic good time for textiles. It will be a challenging time, but yeah, a big ray of hope is the opportunity which China can offer by foreign companies shifting their orders to India. If that goes to happen, probably there's a big ray of hope. That's the only thing I have to say about it.
Thank you. I think Mr. Rajkumar, maybe we have to end. I think in South, I think lot of female workers are working, even I think in the 3 shift also. There is a one suggestion from one senior member. Migration will be a catalyst for companies to look locally, particularly for women. What I think Mr. Kesar has also said, same thing. The cheap labor to be replaced by the productive workplace. This statement has come. Do you want to put some light on that?
Yes. See, let me tell you, KPR Mills in Coimbatore has 22,000 workers from Orissa, all women workers housed in hostels. Getting local women will be difficult. You should try a combination of both local workers and particularly women migrant workers. And friends, you should see those facilities. And as Prashant mentioned, when the government is going to come out with schemes to have good hostels, in the long run, all of us should have fantastic facilities to house our workmen. So when we work, definitely let me tell you, you will have better productivity. As Mr. Kesar mentioned, I fully agree and support him that having migrant workers has got a lot of advantages for the industry. Only thing is, we need to take care of them by having good hostels, having good working conditions, environment, good food, medical facilities, and things like that. There are many campuses in and around Coimbatore where, friends, you can visit. Feel free to get in touch with the Southern India Mills Association. I will organize. If a few of you wanted to come, please, once things settle down, please come down, have a look at this, and I'm sure Prashant and others in city would be knowing these kind of facilities prevailing over there. It is also available in the north. But my opinion is that you will have to have a combination of local workers and migrant workers. There are a lot of women migrant workers. All we need to do is to take care of them as our own daughters and our own children. And definitely, let me tell you and promise you, the productivity will be 15% more, and you will have many advantages by housing them inside. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think Dr. Ishaq, any last statement for 1 minute just after listening? Dr. Ishaq, please.
So one point that I would like to say, I will just give you one example that you see, we have to enhance the skillness among the workers so that they can take more work. Take a typical case, because very recently I'm associated with one of the spinning plants, and there that we have seen that the moment that we have brought down our end breakage rate below 3.5 per 100 spindle hour, I was able to reduce my 15% worker in ring frame just by one reason. So if you are able to maintain your this working condition better, I'm telling you, because we unnecessarily that because that working conditions are power, that even a small change in raw material cost and all, we will immediately change it because this is giving me effectiveness, but at what cost? So this is the one important issue, and one of the important issue again I say, try to run with the minimum number of product mix. In this your cost is going to be very high the moment that you have a more number of this product mix, and then only you can think of automation. Otherwise, I'm telling you that your automation will fail the moment you will have a lot of flexibility in your plant. Maintain your plant streamlined and take the maximum advantage of automation.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think a lot of questions are there, so I am not going to Mr. Yadav and Mr. Dwivedi because time is not permitting. Sorry for the same. So once again, thank you all the panelists for sparing the time and joining for this webinar. Thanks all to all the attendees who have joined and listened to this deliberation. So once again, thank you very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks to all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.